Yeah, so this video I'm going to be discussing whether I think the Arrowverse is coming to an end on some level, with everything that's been going on with the shows and where inevitably the shows could end up. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe for new, notifications on. Let's get right into the video. So, with Superman and Lois officially not part of the Arrowverse now, and going into its third season, which could probably be the last at this point. With Flash Season 8 wrapping up and Season 9, again, could more than likely be the last. If not, it'll more likely be Season 10. I think for sure it'll be Season 10 be the last if it's not Season 9. And with Stargirl being part of the Arrowverse, and it's on its third season that hasn't premiered yet, and we still don't know about a fourth season, whether or not the show's going to end on the third season or not, which I would be surprised if it did. I don't think the show could go on for another few years. So where could the Arrows be going? Well, I think that Justice U, assuming it's part of the Arrowverse and not part of Superman and Lois' world, because if so, that's gonna screw up a lot of Superman and Lois' history. But it's really gonna vary on, again, Justice U. And what they do with those two shows, assuming Justice U gets picked up before The Flash is done, they can easily do crossovers like they did with Flash and Arrow, but with Flash and Justice U. I think it'd be very easily done, especially if they're shooting in Vancouver, which they more than likely would. And David Ramsey was appearing on these shows, and he's really open to it anytime. So I think it's more likely possible that the Arrowverse could keep on going if Justice U gets picked up and actually becomes a show. Another way would be if The Flash gets a spin-off show, which I'm not going to be talking about in another video I'm uploading some point soon. It might be Thursday night, it might not be, depends on what happens, but that could be another way the Arrowverse keeps on going, is because of The Flash spin-off show, which we know Eric Wallace doesn't have any plans for it right now, because he's not really focusing on that, which he shouldn't be. He should be focusing on the show. Especially if it's the last season, he needs to figure stuff out for that. But, when The Flash does inevitably end within the next year or two, maybe 3, who knows, 2 to 3 years, I think it's fair to say, depending on when Season 9, if we get a Season 10, when that premieres, probably be 2 to 3 years from now. So we have to wait half a year for Season 9, and that might take 6 months. By the time Season 9's done, so when it's not the last, this would be the point in time next year where we'd find out if we're going to Season 10 or not, especially if it's not the last. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting, because Stargirl could always get a spinoff. I don't know what it could be, but I could see the show going for Season 5, which would be obviously a couple more years, especially if they keep on waiting a year to release a new season. Which I think would change, because this Stargirl is now a fall show, which is really good for a show. If you don't know CW that well, I mean, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends, Batwoman, they were all, well, Legends, Batwoman got moved to the summer slots. But for the CW, when you get a fall time slot, that is good. I know we're all kind of sick of the break, but it is good that the Stargirl got moved to a fall time slot. And it's like, you get an honorable mention in a way, is what it's kind of like for the CW. It's probably why they moved Legends back in the summer, because the shows weren't doing that well, and they needed more viewers for it. But Stargirl does so good that it'll just get viewers no matter what. Like The Flash does, Arrow, and Supergirl did, and, all those shows. But, obviously Stargirl moved to a false time slot, and it'll more likely stay there until the show's done. Like, again, the other shows did, but that's more likely where we're going. Now, why wasn't Flash in this year's time slot, in the fall slots? Because of the delay. We had a COVID delay. Now, next year, it could release in January. That's technically a fall schedule release, not a summer release. The show will more likely go, that season, will more likely go into the summer like it did this year. I would say in the late June. but there were 20 episodes season 8. We're supposed to only get like 15 as of right now in season 9. Who really knows though? It could always go up, but I know Grant's on them for 15, and it seems like there's only going to be 15 unless things change, which they can always change stuff, so. But it's going to be very interesting to see where the Arrowverse goes over the next, like, 2 years, 3 years. If Justice U doesn't get picked up, I think we're in big trouble for, especially Flash being the last show in the Arrowverse, especially if it doesn't get a spinoff. And it just ends there. I mean, there's something they can really do about that. And if Superman and Lois, whether you want to agree with me or not, that show ain't getting a spinoff. So there's no... Especially if it was part of the Arrowverse, I would more likely say there could be a possibility of a spinoff. But with them going their own way on Superman and Lois, there's no way the show can get a spinoff without making some random person a spinoff show. Like, it makes no sense. Like, you can't do a John Diggle spinoff with that John Diggle because the synopsis for Justice U doesn't add up for Superman and Lois. Even though there's Superman and Lois writer on that show, it doesn't add up. And I think CW is going to see that and be like, okay, we have to put it part of the Arrowverse. So they have to connect it to Earth Prime, connect it to The Flash. It's what they got to do for that show to work, for people to watch it. That's how it's got to work. Which nonetheless, I probably watch that show because it's David Ramsey and, you know, as long as they don't drag us on like Todd Helping did for 2 years and 30 episodes, to disconnect it from the Arrowverse would be great. But I think Justice U, again, assuming it's part of the Arrowverse, will be that key thing to where we say the Arrowverse is good for a good couple, maybe several years. Assuming they keep the show going longer than one season. And again, this Flash spinoff, depending on who it is, like if it's Bart and Nora, I could see that show, I don't know what it'd be called, but I could see it going on possibly for like 2 seasons, 3 seasons. I don't see that show going on long at all. Now, if it's a Wally West show, which is a big if here, I could see that going on for several seasons because I know a lot of people love Kid Flash. I do too. If it was a show following Jay Garrick, which a lot of people have been talking about lately, I could see that going on for 2 seasons. Starring John Winship as Jay Garrick, obviously, and Joanne Garrick as well. Okay, Michelle Harrison. I could see Grant very well just crossing over with that show even when The Flash is done. And then just tying up a new show following that new spinoff show. Like, they can reboot the Arrowverse here if it's done well. Like, yeah, we had a Supergirl. Yeah, we had the Arrow, Flash, Legends, Batwoman. And we're getting Gotham Knights, which is definitely not part of the Arrowverse. Probably watching be part of Superman and Lois' Earth. But as of right now, it's not part of the Arrowverse. Naomi, I'm pretty sure, was confirmed to not be part of the Arrowverse. I mean, you know, so there's a lot they can do on Earth Prime with all these cities being part of Earth Prime, like Gotham City, Central City, National City, Argo. Like, they have a lot of things that they can do on Earth Prime, and they can really heavily explore that. Even if it was like Earth 5 or, you know, Earth 3 or 4 or whatever, that they can put a new show on. They have a whole multiverse to put these shows on as long as connected from the get-go and not dragged out across, you know, 2 seasons. If it's connected right away, it will be good. Whatever the show is. It could be a legit Batman show. Funny, right? I mean, it could be a Green Lantern show. Again, funny, right? I mean, they could do so much with continuing the Arrowverse. This is up to Greg Berlanti and, you know, whoever else is trying to keep it going to keep coming with the shows. And it's up to Mark Pedowitz and the CW to keep that going. You know, it's really up to them. Because, again, The Flash has been carrying the CW since it started, next to Arrow and, you know, Supergirl a little bit. But mainly Arrow and Flash carried the CW for several years. Even now it still does for Flash. And obviously Superman and Lois tops that. But I don't think that's going to really stay the same next year. But obviously because a lot of people will quit watching it. But nonetheless, I do see if we don't get Justice U and the Flash doesn't get a spinoff, I could see it coming to an end. But at the same time, even if we're at a point where Flash and Stargirl, and if Justice U does inevitably get picked up, if all those shows are done in the next 5 years, there could very well be an Arrow season 9. I could see Stephen Amell coming back when Flash is done and doesn't get a spinoff, if Justice U doesn't get picked up, and if Stargirl's done, I could see Steven saying, we're not done with the Arrowverse yet, I'm going to come back for season 9, possibly season 10, just to get that possible spin-off show for whatever possibility we can get done out there to keep the Arrowverse going so it doesn't just die off. I could see him doing that as long as he's not busy. Now, how could that be set up? I could see that being set up from The Flash season 9, bringing back Arrow or whatever the final season of The Flash is, bringing back Oliver on some level, which, again, very well being season 9. But again, there could be that high possibility of Steven coming back for a full season of Arrow if all the shows are done, just to bring up Justice U or a whole nother spinoff in general, just to get the Arrowverse going. I could see that very much so playing out in that favor. What we're also going to be looking at is the highly possibility that The Flash does go to season 10, and that it does get a spinoff, and that Stargirl's continuing on that route to where Flash and Stargirl do cross over the show's done. As I said, The Flash goes to season 10, gets a spinoff, Justice U gets picked up, and God knows where Justice U will go. Again, as soon as part of the Arrowverse will be good. Justice U will be that very key thing that we are going to be looking at right now until it's definitely going to be picked up, but where will it be placed at? Will it be on Earth Prime with the Arrowverse, or will it be part of Superman and Lois' universe? We need to figure that out, and I think we should all be keeping an eye on that, because that will be the key factor in is the Arrowverse dying or not, and is it because of Todd Helbing or not? And if Justice U is on Superman and Lois' Earth, it's because of Todd Helbing. And obviously WB, but I think that's the route we're going to be looking at. I would love the Arrowverse to keep on going. Obviously, my entire channel is devoted to it. What I would do without the Arrowverse on this channel, I don't know. It's going to be something, but I think the next few years of the Arrowverse could definitely be the last, but at the same time, I could see it just going on as long as possible. They could bring out stupid shows like Gotham Knights or Naomi, or Batman Legends. Those shows weren't really that good, but I could see them just spinning those shows out just to get the Arrowverse going if they're not that good. You know what I mean? I could see that still keep on going as long as CW doesn't cancel them or whatever. Which, obviously they canceled Legends, Batwoman, and Naomi due to WB looking at the ratings, but I could see the Flash keep on going until season 10, and it's really up to Grant and Eric Wallace. Do they want to end the show? Does Grant want to end the show? I mean, hell, Tom Cavanaugh said Grant can go till season 20. It was a joke, but I think we all know he's being serious. Grant could easily go for a 20-season run if he really wanted to, because he loves this character. He loves this show, and he proves that every episode. I mean, he puts 100% in. You know, I mean, he's been doing the Flash for the past 9 years. 2 episodes on Arrow, started a pilot, a show. You know, it's the longest running Arrowverse show. If Grant really wanted to do God knows how many seasons of this show, he could do it. Just get the Arrowverse going. Again, if the show does end and Stargirl's done, just doesn't get picked up, there's no Flash spinoff, I could very well see Steven saying, I'm going to come back for an Arrow season 9 just to save the Arrowverse and keep it going. Just to get a show, out there again. And this could be the full-on reboot of the Arrowverse, starting with Arrow and a possibility of a Flash spinoff from Arrow. As much as I think we all love that to be from the Flash, I think it would be a full circle moment where Arrow comes back after 5 years or whatever, creates another Flash show or another superhero show like Justice U, or on some level another show, maybe following Meena, I don't know. But I could see all those possibilities becoming a full-on true reality if it's done well. And I think that's what we should all be looking at as well, besides Justice U. Will it be done well? And I think we're going to be seeing that, hopefully, over the next couple months. So that's my take on it. I wanted to do this video because I've seen a lot of people talking about the Superman and Lois disconnect. And a lot of people are saying we're done the Flash. We're not. We're done the Flash with Stargirl. Stargirl's part of the Arrowverse. Whether I admit or not, it is. It's a John relationships, Jay Garrick. It is part of the Arrowverse. And so we're really going to be digging into, again, where's the Arrowverse going? And we're going to be seeing that unraveling over the next year, I think, would be the definitive answer. Give it a year. If we don't have just news on Justice U, we have to wait a little bit more, but we'll definitely get news on the Flash, obviously, whether season 9 is the last or not. And if it is, who knows? It's up to Stargirl then, and it's up to Justice U to get picked up. But nonetheless, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.